Hello everyone and good evening. Welcome to today's free masterclass on the truth about tuberculosis, natural treatment, prevention and cure. And we are happy to see some of you joining today to learn more about this issue, which actually has unfortunately very little awareness in today's society. But we are very happy that we could put together this small session for all of you in order to also bring more awareness during this week on World Tuberculosis Week, so that we could share our perspective of how tuberculosis should be approached in the natural healing way through nature cure. Okay, so before we get started, I guess we know many of you. So very briefly, Wellcure is an online health platform and we aim to help people live a life free of medicines by adopting natural healing path. And we have been instrumental in getting many people on this path through our webinars, through our guided programs, through our educational programs, coachings, and we also share a wealth of information through our Instagram, YouTube channels, and also through our natural healing blogs and journeys, and also all for free recipes and Q&A section, everything available for you through our app. So please do follow us on Instagram, on uh, on our YouTube, and install the app and see what we have to offer. So I think people are still joining. And meanwhile, I don't know why my WhatsApp is acting up. I actually wanted to send a reminder. So if any of you are active on WhatsApp and if you would like to please remind people in your circles to join the webinar because we have started, excuse me, recovering from a cold. So that would really help. So I'm Asha Shivram. I'm a part of the Wellcure team, a natural health coach, and I have been doing these kind of educational webinars and coaching consultations through for many of the programs through Wellcure. And I myself had some respiratory issues in my childhood. I had severe allergies, and my mother was asthmatic. So I was told that I am also going to probably become another statistic and develop asthma. So improving my lung health was always a very big um, point of concern for me. And yeah, I'm glad that I did not believe in heredity and other aspects as I came into nature cure and I understood what was the real cause. So we are going to share all this and more today. And Dr. Prashanti has joined today's call also. She is the expert of the program and she is going to share from her wealth of knowledge all about tuberculosis. So Dr. Prashanti Atluri is a cardiovascular disease specialist who practices in Louisiana in the US. She has more than 25 years of experience in internal medicine and cardiology. And she believes that the key to health actually is to use diet and lifestyle correction to get us on the path of natural healing and allow the body to do what it knows best, that is to restore health and balance. So, welcome, Dr. Prashanti. And while she is going to start, can we know from all of you what brings you to today's program? And please, if all of you could just spend a moment to forward the messages of joining this webinar in your channels, it would be great help. So can you write
Yeah,
on the chat what brings you to today's class? Are you looking for a specific solution? I think we know many of the people here.
yeah. Hey Asha, how are you? All right. So let's just looks like how many joined today? Like I'm not able to get the
I am
count, but
around
oh,
18 people, I think.
18 people came in. Okay, yeah. Okay, so is there any particular reason? Some of the names I don't recognize, but is there any reason why you joined? You want to know more about this? What is going on with your health and other things? So we are just trying to create awareness regarding this condition, because India is like, we all, everybody knows about tuberculosis. We all know BCG vaccine. We all know about, every, maybe there is one person that we know in our circle that had tuberculosis and that was taking treatment for tuberculosis. And again, if somebody is coughing for a prolonged period of time, immediately everybody says, oh, you need to go get yourself checked up for tuberculosis. And also we've been primed by the media too, right? Movie industry, lot of movies already show somebody who is coughing up, constant cough, and who is having lot of weight loss. Immediately we all know it's tuberculosis or cancer. And that's how the media has primed us, with all this with how to become our own patients just by looking and watching at symptoms, right? So this is what tuberculosis like. So how much do you know about tuberculosis? Can you just put it in the thing? We are trying to keep it as interactive as possible rather than just us lecturing and then delivering all these messages to you. But we are just trying to create more awareness, um, more the natural health perspective needs to be given regarding tuberculosis. And that's what our main aim today is, to understand this so-called tuberculosis from the lens of natural health and not from the lens of allopathic people who just know how to read an x-ray, or under like take some symptoms and then do some blood work or some test and then label it as TB and then put you on medication. So that's what we are trying to do here. So tell me, like, what brings you here? What is your main interest? What is the reason for tuberculosis? So majority of you, from TV or from reading some books and other things, tuberculosis means some people will start having fever, some will have a lot of chills, and then the fever keeps on going and going, and then they give you like initial set of like penicillin kind of antibiotics. Then the fever doesn't respond to those, and then they start having this low grade fevers in the evening time, and then extreme amount of fatigue, not able to digest, lack of appetite, and then along with that comes a significant amount of weight loss, and then coughing up, and the mucus, thick chunks of mucus is going to come out, and then life just goes on that way, right? And then they did do a chest X-ray, and then on a chest X-ray they find a cavity, and or sometimes they just see like little bit of cavities all around, and then they collect the sputum, then they culture the sputum, and then they say, oh, there is a Mycobacterium tuberculosis. It's a bacillus, it's a bacteria, it's a germ that is growing from these cultures. And then they call it as a tuberculosis. And then the life, like, I mean, that's the cycle that happens, right? So we all have like a tuberculosis wards in government hospitals. A lot of TB patients go there, and then they get their 6 month of refills of medication, and then they get chest X-rays, and then just life goes on. And also they do get delivered eggs. The most important thing is they do get, if they are in tuberculosis ward, the patients get 2 or 3 eggs per day to eat. They think that that's the one that is going to build up their strength and vigor, and then they start giving them milk and eggs. That's, I still remember that all the TB patients there, they used to get a cup of milk and 2 eggs in the morning to start their day, along with the load of medications that they have to take. So India has a lot of TB sanatoriums. Do you? I'm sure you guys also know about some TB sanatorium. I'm sure it's a landmark in any of your cities, right? TB sanatorium. They used to call them in the middle of the city somewhere, or in the remote area of the city. So, so estimated TB cases in lakhs. That, I mean, India is known for tuberculosis cases, and India, Africa, these are known for tuberculosis numbers. So India always has a battle with some kind of an disease or the other. One day it is going to be polio, one day it is going to be tuberculosis, one day it's going to be malaria. We keep fighting, 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 fighting. We always keep looking for one drug or the other, a magic vaccine, a magic pill, a magic chemical, or some sort of an extermination protocol is going to be followed in India in order to eradicate any kind of diseases. And then lakhs, not lakhs, crores and crores of hard earned taxpayer money will be diverted to all those eradication programs. Yes or no? I'm just trying to be really sarcastic at this point, but I mean, aren't we fed up with all this eradication, elimination, war on this and that, everything? But the war never ends. The war keeps on going and going. The war just takes the different forms and shapes and different names. Yes or no? I mean, by now we should be under trying to figure out, okay, are they even really trying to eradicate it, or are they just going trying to prolong it by now? So tuberculosis has been the leading cause of death from a single infectious disease worldwide. I can tell you myself, my father-in-law's family, pretty much everybody, it seems like his sister died very young from tuberculosis. That's what they say, right? From tuberculosis. His brother was a tuberculosis patient. My father in law himself was a tuberculosis patient, and he has taken medications. So it's kind of so chart is disabled, it seems, Asha. Can you just check into it? Nandini is saying that. So it's kind of like everybody is being victimized, has been like fear monger in the name of tuberculosis. So even if I try to explain to my in-laws side about tuberculosis, oh my God, how can you say all this? We have seen in our own family how they have gone through tuberculosis. I'm like, yes, I know that. But listen to what I have to say and let me explain to you how this has been presented. But then they don't want to listen to it. They really don't want to listen to it. So now the chat is enabled. You guys can interact with us. We are trying to do some recording of it so that we can explain more and more, because this is very much in the need of the hour. Because we keep seeing, I mean, Aisha and I saw in the past 10 days a decent number, at least every other patient was told they have some form of a tuberculosis or the other, and then they have been treated with medication for 6 to 9 months. So we just saw, like, we were like, okay, let's just talk more about it and have some amount of, use some amount of perspective of natural health and this angle. So it is called as a wasting disease. You all know that, right? And it's one of the oldest known diseases in human history. So everybody knows about tuberculosis. Even your great grandparents also understood. They had a different name to it. I think by the time our grandparents came, they knew about the name tuberculosis. So 17th, 18th century, tuberculosis was known as a consumption disease, which is nothing but a wasting away of the body. Okay. So even in Egyptian mummies and all of them, when they kind of like did autopsies on those mummies, they saw all these tuberculosis like illness. In tuberculosis, what they see most of the times in the chest x-ray or in the lymph nodes is a cheesy material. We call, even in medicine, we always use different kinds of food names, cheesy material, anchovy sauce, all kinds of things are going to be given. Raspberry like, strawberry like nodules. So that's kind of like, we usually use different kinds of food names to it. So tuberculosis, it's very hard to miss these biopsies because it's a cheesy material in the lungs or in the lymph nodes, like a cheese. It looks like a cheese if you really look at them. So ancient Indian Chinese texts also call it as a Raja Kshama. So something like, king getting wasting diseases, king of all diseases, wasting diseases. It's pretty much, these people are filled up with a lot of mucus everywhere. So, I mean, whatever they eat, how can they even assimilate it? So that's what it is about, a wasting condition. So tuberculosis, along with so if you are a diabetic, if you have a history of smoking, if you have a history of alcoholism, if there is a history of any kind of drug abuse and other things, so already these people are toxic, or what the modern medicine wants to call them as immunocompromised. On top of it, if they have this so-called wasting disease or tuberculosis, then it's going to be a double whammy. It's almost like, they are going to get hit twice, or extremely difficult for this patient to start feeling better. So then this is called as immunocompromised patient, especially during the HIV, like this pandemic that was going on. There was more, lot more of tuberculosis patients because these patients were drug users. Majority of them were drug users. So then they had the scavenger activity of tuberculosis was high in them. So, what other factors as industrial revolution? How many of you are from Delhi? Or how many of you are from Delhi, or how many of you are living in lot of pollution and in the crowded cities? Like, we literally crave for greeneries in crowded cities, and then poor sanitation. I mean, we are like, if you really look at the underground drainage of Bombay or Delhi or New York or Hyderabad or anywhere else, how much of filth is flowing underneath us in the name of the sewer systems? The amount of the stuff that is flowing under the houses, under the roads is huge. And then at least the sanitation system has improved, but in the past people literally used to live in the filth. I mean, I still remember growing up in India, open defecation used to be there. I haven't seen open defecation in India when I came in 2019 and 2020 four. I think systems have improved at least, but back then it used to be very common sight to see open defecation, and then open as this what do you call the municipality dumping areas and everything, and then on top of it, malnutrition, a very poor an idea about what exactly is nutrition is all about. Remember, feeding TB patients milk and eggs was their criteria in order to improve the nutrition of the patient. How can a patient improve by feeding all those things? So, wrong ideas about nutrition, wrong sanitation, not amount enough, significant amount of city development without any proper value to airflow or to greenery or to green patches, or how many people can live in 1 square footage area. So in some amount of square footage area. So poor industrial planning, all these things will contribute to such kind of issues. Let it be malaria, let it be tuberculosis, let it be typhoid. All these things are related to this kind of living conditions that we are all forced to live in, or we all chose to live in at this point. Okay? Any questions on this so far? So then the so-called
Dr.
bacteria
Prashanti,
connect. Yeah.
Dr. Prashanti, I just wanted to make a comment as we were talking about isolation, right? In
Mm-hmm.
Bangalore, many decades ago, we used to have an isolation hospital where all such cases used to be sent. It was supposed to be on the in the at the outskirts of Bangalore, where all such patients would be sent. Of course, now the city has grown past that place,
Uh-huh.
but there
Mm-hmm.
used to be so much of a scare about this disease, and
Mm.
it used to be thought about. There was a lot of stigma attached to TB. It was thought
Yeah.
about as only,
Contagious, right? They
yeah,
would think that whenever these people cough on us, then it is going to be the contagion myth, kind of originated from that. So they think whenever they cough, people cough on us, then the TB bacteria, you're going to be getting afflicted with tuberculosis. So yeah, so the TB sanatoriums, they used to have some trees, and then the homes. I mean, there used to be those places used to be decent when compared to majority of the living conditions of those patients. But again, they used to feed them with milk and eggs and other things. So Robert Koch, he is a German guy who kind of was into all these germs and other things. Some sort of a some sort of a guy. He would just isolate all these germs, and then keep inoculating other people, and then he would just prove that the patient is getting that the germ is the cause of the disease. And then children were getting tuberculosis from, they call it as a drinking contaminated cow's milk, and that resulted in all these lymph node enlargement, intestinal enlargement, bone issues. So tuberculosis is not just lung, okay? It involves every little bit of the body. But when you really look at the only way natural, the way we can explain it in a very decent way is by understanding the terrain part of the story, not the germ theory, but by understanding the terrain of the story, terrain part of the story that we will explain. And the only way this is going to be understood very well is by understanding natural health sciences or nature cures. That's how it is. That's how we can explain. So see, when a cow is living in a very filthy conditions, of course the cows are going to be sick too. Okay, and then you're going to bring that filthy milk, and then you're going to start drinking it, which is not even supposed to be your food. And then what will happen? The cheesy material. Remember, paneer ho jata hai sub parts of the body. Paneer means, the cottage cheese kind of how it becomes. Because that's what happens when you can't digest that milk, which is not even our food, then सब कुछ पनीर बन जाता है, सब कुछ वो cheesy material, tuberculosis का cheesy material बन जाता है. So TB can be in the spine, TB can be in the brain, TB can be in the kidney, in the intestine, in the lymph nodes, in the bone marrow. So it's everywhere, everywhere. Whenever the doctors cannot figure out why the patient is having constant fever and constant weakness, not able to eat well, not able to have a proper appetite, and these fevers are coming, they do all kinds of tests, and finally they say, oh, it is a tuberculosis, this person is afflicted with tuberculosis. They don't even want to understand the conditions that have created the cheesy material in the body. Are you able to understand? Some of you do have a strong foundation, like Richa, Nandini. You all have a strong foundation of a terrain model and natural health sciences. For you, this is making much, I'm sure this is making more sense to you. But those of you who are literally new to it, we're going to explain more about it. But anybody, because every other day, as I said, we are digging up the old charts of patients. Okay, there are patients who came in with intestinal tuberculosis. There are patients who came in with lung tuberculosis, lung nodules, and then so the story keeps on going and going and going. So there are many people who came to us in the past. Like 3 months with this so-called tuberculosis, and they had taken treatment. And the thing is, the treatment is the one thing that even it's much more worse, and the patient now has to recover from multiple channels of toxicity that has entered into the system. So next slide. Now, are you able to understand the cheesy material? Again, remember all these the terms that I'm using here, because Asha will more explain about the cheesy material, how the body forms this cheesy material everywhere from the kind of food that we are eating. Okay. So long term treatment would be like 6 to 9 months of different rounds of antibiotics. These antibiotics, they are so strong, they are extremely potent kind of chemotherapy-like drugs. So they use isoniazid, rifampicin, pyrazinamide, ethambutol, and sometimes they usually use 4 drugs at a time, initial 2 months, and then they do taper it down to 2 drugs for the next 4 to 9 months. And then they monitor the patient. Then they tell you, they check their liver function test, they check their hemoglobin, and then they check your physical symptoms and all of them. A lot of patients can't even tolerate them. They just blindly pop all these pills to a point that they really become super sick from all these drugs. And then sometimes now, there are, if the patient's conditions are not corrected and the patient has not much vitality left in him, then what happens is the cheesy material keeps on building up in the body. And then they're going to call it as a multi-drug resistant tuberculosis. And then they will give you even more bigger guns. And then the patient literally believes and pops all these medications, and they think that the disease is much stronger than these medications, and then they trust their doctor in such a way. They're like, my doctor is doing everything, but this disease is eating me away. And that's the amount of blind faith and trust they have in the system and in the tuberculosis propaganda. So that's what it is. I mean, I'm telling you, I say this all the time, tuberculosis in these immunocompromised patients, but nobody really talks to them eye to eye about the conditions that they have to improve. They have to stop putting this cheesy material into the body, but no one really educates them well. So, myths of tuberculosis is like it's a disease of the past, it is a disease of poverty, it requires long term treatments of medications, it is caused by a bacterial infection that can jump from one person to another. They can also jump from one human to and one animal to human. So that kind of like, it keeps on circulating. So you think tuberculosis is a disease of the past, again and again it will come back to the surface. Again and again, if the doctors cannot figure out why this patient is having of these constant fevers, they have done all the tests under the sun. When they can't figure it out, they will blame tuberculosis bacteria. When nothing works, blame it on tuberculosis. When nothing works, blame it on autoimmune condition. When nothing works, blame it on typhoid, without any proper understanding about how a disease is built up. Are you able to understand, or is it too high level for you what I'm talking about, like maybe like a medical student level? Just let me know. Otherwise, I'll slow it down and we're going to talk more in those terms. But now with all this COVID stuff, what happened was a lot of people antibioticized themselves. A lot of people were living in fear. And then all these vaccines that went in the past 6 years or 7 years, what happened? Toxicity has increased. Their terrain is struggling. And now, again, the myths of tuberculosis are again coming to the surface, and more tuberculosis diagnosis is going to be done by the doctors who have no idea how a disease is created. It's really like so sad, all these people, like how they're doing all these things. So now the first the our life starts in India. Remember BCG, what is there? I mean, even I think I have a scar on my maybe, yeah, I do. Can you see it on my left arm? Like I still remember to this day, my mom tells me this story about me. Okay, I was a like I was just a newborn. Okay, my mom was there. Everybody, like my grandmother and all of them, they went home in order to prepare her meal and everything. Okay, then knock knock, who is there? Hi, I'm the guy who is going to give your child BCG vaccine. My mom, she was just what, 18 or 19. I mean, she must be educated enough to do it, right? No. She said, "Okay, here is my our soul baby. I just fed her. Take her." And then the guy injected this thing into my into my left arm. I mean, I don't know if you can see me, but yeah. And then my mom was like, "You cried and cried and cried." Then Amama came, and Amama yelled at me for not even not asking questions or doing and letting myself letting the injection go into you. So you cried and cried and cried, and then you developed a big sore on the arm. It was so painful to watch it. You were just an hour old baby. So do you remember any of these stories your parents told me? My mom's even till today, I'm 50, I'm going to be 50 soon. Even till today, my mom still remembers it as if it was just yesterday, and she keeps telling this story. So this is the BCG, the first day intradermal shot. So if you really look at it, it's the Serum India that makes it from Pune, and it is nothing but a bovine attenuated live bacillus in some sort of a powder, in some sort of a sodium glutamate or something, and then they dilute it, and then they inject it under the skin. It's an intradermal injection, so it even makes a bigger bleb, and that itself starts the day of toxicity. Remember, it's the terrain that needs to be kept clean, not by injecting ourselves with all these unknown stuff into under our skin. So then that itself creates the start that itself will start the process of more and more issues. So the bacterium has been injected under the skin into us, so they kind of that itself creates such a toxicity in the system. It's a wrong practice, guys. It's a wrong practice. If you see the baby, she's just hours old, and they're doing an intradermal injection. So again and again and again, the discussions have been made. Okay, is it effective? Is it effective to do it? There is no effectiveness that came, but still we continue this barbaric procedure on day and our soul babies. Still till today, this is being given. So, what about you guys? Have you looked at your children's vaccine schedule? Have you tried to discuss more about it? I mean, by now the awareness is around. I really wish my mom and my parents were also in those circles where, the more awareness was there. Even back in those days, people were talking about all these things. Gandhiji has written a lot of information about it, but still, the fear of disease was so much more, and the uncertainties about how a disease is built, and the fear mongering was so much more that nobody wanted to dive deeper into this. It's a sad story, but this is what it is. But we are setting the stage for failing our children's health by injecting these toxic material into their bodies. This has to stop. This BCG vaccine and all this assault on these newborns has to stop. I don't know when, how, but this fear of disease really has to be eradicated from the root. See, I mean, a disease, you all know in natural health, right? Disease doesn't strike this way. So, this is what this is. So what happens is in with BCG vaccine, I'm going to just end this one. So because of this early exposure to this toxic material, lot of Indians are prone to have nodules on their chest X-rays, and then majority of the times there is a practice called PPD. This one in the West. Okay, if you are into healthcare or if you're into immigration and other things, so they kind of again inject under the skin again a small amount of material, same thing like the BCG material under the skin, and then they try to study the reaction of it. And if the PPD becomes positive, then they're going to create a big huge ruckus about it. And a lot of people who have this PPD that is positive, they are made to take again like a TB patient, they're made to take antibiotics and other things, which again creates a mess. See, the PPD is going to become positive because you are already exposed to this kind of a toxic material in the body. So the body is going to react more vigorously to the next incoming stuff of PPDs and other things. The whole this PPD stuff itself is dangerous, and people keep doing it, especially for healthcare workers. The practice is still there in India. So, Deepika is saying, what are you saying? Deepika, want to understand about pleural thickening and if it is related whenever it fits into discussion. Okay. Yeah, it's nothing but scar tissue. So, the scar tissue, the body is trying to wall it off. Like, anywhere the body has toxic material, if it is not able to eliminate it, it builds up a thick wall around it in order to protect you. So that's what this pleural thickening is all about. So it's just building a thick wall around this cheesy material that the body is not able to push it out, eliminate it out. Okay. So any questions so far on this stuff? Because a lot of you, like for example, Nandini will be migrating to the US. So they are going to expose her to this PPD stuff and other things. So you need to find a way in order to get out of it. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck with this PPD positive nonsense. So yeah. Any questions so far? Reach anybody? So then nature cure view, Asha, you want to deal with it, right?
Yes, Dr. Prashanti.
Ah.
Yeah. So, Dr. Prashanti, I just wanted to ask one question. Like how common are the other forms of TB, like the brain and the intestinal and other stuff?
Yeah, the
Are
intestinal,
there
you
different
already.
names for that? Spinal
Yeah,
TB.
yeah. For the skin, they call it as the lupus vulgaris, and for the lymph nodes, they call it as the scrofula. And I think there is another form called as a miliary tuberculosis, where they see all these like small nodules all around in the chest X-ray. I think for brain and bone marrow also there is a name. You see, all these scientists, right? Whenever they find some nonsense and then they want to put a name next to their name next to the condition. So similar to, I mean, Cox disease, KOCH is nothing but tuberculosis, and then they call it as a primary complex. Remember, Adriti's mom was saying primary complex, primary complex. So APC, acute primary complex, I think that's what they call it as. So different kinds of names are given to them just based on what the so-called big doctor in the group thinks about it, based on his so-called idiotic experience that he has from seeing cases and cases that he has never been able to relate to the terrain of the patient.
So, Dr. Prashanti,
But
there's one
tuberculosis doctors,
question.
I mean, I have interacted with these tuberculosis doctors. They think, there is one big guy with with a name in the one city. Each city has one, and then they call them as their head of the department, and this guy has sits with bunch of chest x-rays or bunch of stuff, and he talks as if he's the authority, he knows everything about the disease. And we used to take notes from these guys because whatever pearls that they were putting out from their mouth, we used to think they know about everything. Now I realize such an idiots these are, without even able to connect the right things to the patient and not even telling them the truth, but just drenching these patients in antibiotics, layers and layers of antibiotics, calling them as different names, and doing all this sort of injustice and unethical practices with their ill-equipped knowledge on these patients. Really, it's sad what they're doing to them. Even now, after 200 years, we are doing this.
But what is the reason,
So,
Dr. Prashanti, that especially for TB, the period of treatment is long? That is again another vague guideline, is it? 6 months,
yeah,
nine
it's
months.
another way. Yeah, 6 months, 9 months, 3 months, everything is nothing. There is no science behind all that.
So there's a question from D. I want to understand about
I I,
pluripotent
I
urine.
answered.
Okay.
Yeah, it's nothing but localizing. Scar tissue is formed. It's a wall that is being formed. Okay. So Hafsa is asking, sorry, I missed the point where you said it is a spreadable disease or it is a myth. It is a myth that no disease is spreadable. If you understand the terrain, it's all in the terrain. It's not the germ. These things, they don't jump from one person to another. It's all in the terrain. See, when you're living in the same kind of conditions, eating the same cheesy material, living in the same amount of pollution, everybody's terrain is going to be is going to be affected. So all of them will have the same kind of symptoms, and then that's what they do.
Yes,
Okay,
yeah,
so
that is what we are going to talk about from the
mhm,
nature cure point
mhm,
of view.
yeah.
So he is asking, Azuma is asking, why do we accept these Western names such as TB and symptoms that they call it?
Why do we do that? Because we always like to follow Westerners. I mean, why do we accept these diseases? We've been doing this for so long, right? For 200, 300 years. We thought they knew about everything about disease from allopathic point of view. It's not Western or anything. It's more allopathic point of view. I didn't understand her question fully to answer properly. But can you guys, two
I
of you who are talking about disease here, one second, Azuma and Hafsa, who are they? Are from Aza's family or what? What is what? I mean, you guys are new to this platform. Can you guys tell us like what is your main interest in coming to this workshop or to this talk today?
yeah, they are from Azaz family. So I guess
Okay,
you
they
are
are from Aza's family. Good. Okay,
for
good.
doctors, naturopathy physician. Okay. And
Hmm.
yeah, so
Yeah.
we will be talking.
Yeah, you guys need more deeper. Yeah, you guys need the from Azza family. You guys need more and more deep drilling about natural health and everything. since you are trained in allopathic stuff. So, Nandini, I'll talk to you later about this PPD. See, as a part of immigration, they do PPD testing on all Indians or Africa. They because they think it's tuberculosis is endemic, so they do a PPD, which is nothing but just injection under the skin. So it's a tuberculin stuff that is injected under the skin on the forearm, and then based on how the skin reacts and how the stuff reacts, they kind of label you as a non-reactor versus a reactor. And if the test is if the test, like if you develop a big reaction on the arm, then they're going to call you as a positive patient, and then you're going to be subjected to a lot of their rules and regulations. So either you kind of you know what I'm talking about, right? You kind of get a certificate from India, but never go through that process. I'll talk to you more about it, but a lot of I think Gauri is here still. Gauri, has she joined? Because Gauri has gone through that PPD testing and everything, positive stuff. So she may be able to tell more
Yes,
about it, but we're
actually,
going to keep it short.
both Gauri and Melissa are here. So can we take a testimonial?
Mm-hmm.
Can they talk about their
Yeah.
experience? So Gauri, maybe
Mm.
you can go first. I'm going to ask you to unmute and please
Yeah.
switch on your video.
Yeah, ma'am. Am I audible and visible?
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Yeah, I'm Gauri Priya. So, I wanted to debrief in few minutes what happened. So, we relocated from India to US in 2022. Exactly what Prashanti ma'am has told has happened to us, especially to our 4-year daughter during that time. We went to a regular to establish a pediatrician. We went to a pediatrician and told that we moved from India. So she immediately has written the TB diagnosis blood test, I think, for her. In that, it came positive, and immediately they have written skin test. What exactly meant by PPD test? What Prashanti has told. So it's a very painful test for the 4-year-old that time, and it came positive. And after that, they asked us to go through a chest X-ray, and after the chest X-ray, they confirmed that it's a latent TB, which means it's not an active one and it's not spreadable. And but still, they recommended to go through the health to meet with infectious disease center, which is local to the county, I remember. So we went there and they have given us a 3-month treatment. In that 3 months, she has to take a heavy dose of antibiotics every week, once in a week. So we have to go there and they will only give those medicines to her. So we underwent all that process for the 3 months, by assuming that her health, whatever they told, will be solved. But what happened is, after that, we as a parents observed that her health has deteriorated. She underwent a lot of fever cycles every month, fever, cold, and later it progressed to ear infections as well, with severity increasing month over month. And we observed it for 6 months, and then I understood that something is wrong, and some other way I have to find to get it resolved. In that process and search, I came across the Wellcure, and then took the consultation of Dr. Prashanti. And with the change in the lifestyle, food, and everything, slowly I was able to see that there is a decrease in the fever occurrences and everything, whatever I have told, ear infections. And in that and we have took the treatment, and we have took the consultation with Wellcure in 2023 October, and this treatment has happened in the early months of 2023. So slowly she recovered, and and we are very happy, and I could see the progress how she has made after adopting to the natural way of healing, and how the body heals by itself. That's how it went on with my 4-year-old during that time.
Yeah, yeah, Gauri. Thank you. Yeah, that's what I remember. because I was literally shocked, like, that they made the child go through all these things. Because, see, when they took the BCG vaccine and then they do all these things, then the test is going to come back positive. Lot of times we don't even have to do anything if she doesn't have any symptoms or any of that. But that's what I'm saying. They blindly do these things with thinking that they're doing something good to us. But then the amount of load of these antibiotics and all of these things, it just messes up the whole, the terrain. So yeah, I'm glad you kind of like connected all this and then you were able to do it. But yeah, this is how it is, asymptomatic. Remember, or even if you don't have any symptoms, they chase all these tests and everything, and then they call us asymptomatic. And then they keep on bombarding us with more tests and more drugs and other kinds of things. So this is one of the examples of what can go wrong. So just be careful, just be careful. Point number one, BCG vaccine. It's not needed. It's extremely harmful. Please stop this from happening. Lot of interests are related to Serum Institution. They're not going to stop it because that's where they're making their money. But that is really, literally plundering the health of all our newborns and children and as they grow as adults. And now this mental madness about the PPD testing on immigrants and then blaming them, like, creating making them victims of tuberculosis, so-called tuberculosis, and then poisoning them with more chemicals. So that's number two. Then Melissa can go on, I think. Yeah, Gauri, you want to say anything more, or Asha, you have anything to say?
No, if Gauri has anything to say, you can please continue.
Or anybody wants to ask any questions regarding this? Because this is very common. I have no idea like how you guys are not able to you how you're not able to you haven't come across this kind of thing happen, but it happens very, very commonly.
Yeah, I just wanted to add one thing. Like they actually scared us, saying like if we, it's recommended to take the treatment. If not, everywhere in her education, if she was into sports and if they do the TB test, every time she has to undergo a chest X-ray to prove that it is a latent TB. In that way, they told so many other things for us to
Mm-hmm.
convince that we
Mm-hmm.
have
Yeah,
to
I
undergo
know.
the treatment.
Yeah. Even my husband also, his PPD long time ago came back positive. So he doesn't, he's like, I'm not taking any more. But yeah, no, he said I'm not taking any treatments or anything. So they kind of even tried to, like, fear monger him. He said, I'm not doing this. So this is a very common thing. And I'm part of lot of mainstream doctor communities. They still believe in these lies. They still think that when they go to India, they're going to be exposed to tuberculosis left and right, and they have to take all kinds of precautions in order to protect themselves from tuberculosis. I'm telling you, the amount of the lies that these doctors believe in, it's all in the terrain. It's never in the facts. It's all in the terrain. It's never in the facts.
You're
Just
breaking up, Dr. Prashanti.
crazy how it is.
Okay.
It's just insane, insanity too. I have no, I don't know what else to say at this point. Sabki mati mari gayi hai. That's all I can say. But
Thank
again, you
you.
guys don't fall for this. At least you guys know, like, if there is some sort of a mythical stuff that is happening, you know where to come, right? You're going to come to Wellcure in order to clarify all your doubts and everything before you fall for all this fear mongering. At least do that.
Thank you, Gauri. Thank you for
Mm-hmm.
coming and sharing and spreading awareness. Thanks a lot. So we will go ahead with the slides. And Melissa, maybe after 5-10 minutes, I will ask you to speak. I hope that's okay. I know you wanted to attend the whole webinar. So I'm just going to speak a little bit about Nature Cure's view, and I think your story will fit in very well after that. So as per Nature Cure, for those of you new to this, in Nature Cure, we do not believe in infections or diseases spreading because most of these chronic issues are because of the lifestyle we live. In the history of tuberculosis itself, as Dr. Prashanti was explaining, the incidences of tuberculosis were seen more in places which had a lot of filth, it was unhygienic, there were sanitation issues, poor water supply, overcrowding. Then there were during the Industrial Revolution, the people were working in conditions filled with lot of dust, and the factories were filled with hazardous material. There was a lot of stress. People were living in close quarters. And these are the real reasons for the problem. It is not an imaginary bacteria which caused the problem. So it is not an infection, and hence it is not spreadable. So then why did many people get the same issue? Is because all these people living in close quarters were living in similar living conditions, right? They were all like packed together, eating the same wrong kind of food and living in a filthy environment. So obviously, since we all share the same kind of physical structure and our thought patterns, our stress reflect and bounce against each other, yes, we will also express the same kind of diseases. So, this is what is the real view of nature cure. It is a lifestyle disease. It is not due to an infection, it is not due to any kind of bacteria. So, actually, this tuberculosis bacteria or whatever supposedly that Koch discovered, just like any other bacteria, like they say H. pylori bacteria that is responsible for gut issues or some other name given for something else. Actually, bacteria are not the problem. They are actually nature's uh, cleaning up team. So they are the cleanup crew that come to a diseased body, to a body afflicted with lot of toxic material, in order to feed on that material and recycle it. So they are part of the recycling team in nature. Just like you will see in the soil also, you will see a lot of bacterial growth happening, right? There are a lot of microorganisms doing important work in the soil. Same way, if you can think of your body as the soil, our body has lots of bacteria, millions and millions of bacteria, and we can never be free of them. So every bacteria has a role to play, and they are part of cleaning up of the different kinds of filthy material in the body. Whether it is for recycling, whether it is for breaking down of toxins, they have a very important role to play. So the disease comes first and then the bacteria develop. It is automatically developed by the body itself. It is not coming or spreading from one person to another. So you can see, actually this is a vast topic. So it is called the terrain or the soil theory versus the germ theory. Maybe you can read a little bit about it and you will understand so much more, the entire history, and then there's so many stories told about this and how the entire medical or the medical fraternity, how it was all developed around this theory, right? So it's just for this webinar, it's enough to know that bacteria are part of the solution, not the problem. So they are not to blame. It is the living conditions, the dietary indiscretions which people were following, which are happening even today, and then the poor start in life, which has happened again, as Dr. Prashanti was explaining, with all those vaccines and other things. That's how the body gets diseased. So, in the nature cure view, it is about a disease like tuberculosis developing due to a lower state of vitality, internal imbalance, and health. That's what they call as comorbidity. So, when a person is already having diabetes, a person is older, already having pre-existing conditions of poor respiratory health from a young age, like weak in constitution, yes, that already means that the person is diseased. And when such a person is tested for any kind of so-called bacteria, they may show up these bacteria, but that doesn't mean that caused the disease. So the cure in nature cure is actually to build up health, improve on health building measures, give the body what it is designed for: proper air, proper ventilation, nutritious food, sunlight, a good thriving community, ways of staying happy, right? Proper exercise and all these things. And that's how you build health. And then the disease automatically goes away. And this Melissa is going to explain very soon. And the medical view is totally opposite to this. So, a sense of urgency is created, a lot of fear is instilled that it's a serious infection. Immediately, we need to get you started on antibiotics. If not, it is going to spread. It is going to create more problems. So, you need to get started on this antibiotic treatment, and it will go on for 6 to 9 months, and you cannot quit in between because it's going to create drug resistance TB, and we'll need to give you higher dosage or different stronger medicines. That's what you are told. So, if a person is lucky and he comes towards the nature cure path, then he can save himself or herself a lot of grief in future, because all these medicines, as we already explained, creates long-term side effects. Okay, so the main cause of disease in nature cure is due to the accumulation of toxins in the body. Toxins are any material which get into the blood or into our tissues in our body through various means, like the pollution in the air, soil, the water, the stress we take, the medicines we take, all the supplements, or the you know the fast food and food cooked in a lot of oil and other things, alcohol, smoking. It already predisposes a body to lot of weakness and lowered state of health. And today we are ordering food, eating late in the night, and we have every convenience at our fingertips, which is causing a life full of hurry and worry. Right? So these are the main reasons for all these chronic issues to develop in the body. And instead of taking responsibility for it, we choose to put the blame on an imaginary bacteria. So I would like, before we get into this question, let's just hear from Melissa about her experience. So Melissa, I am going to let me locate her and unmute her. Yeah, if you can switch on your video and speak, Melissa.
Yeah, hi. Can you all see and hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, hi. So, hi everyone. I just wanted to share just my experience with Wellcure and yeah, my history with TB. So, thank you, Ms. Asha and Dr. Prashanti, for giving me this opportunity to share. So, I was diagnosed with TB in 2016, and it was already diagnosed as drug resistant. So the doctors told me that my treatment would have to be for 2 years, and this was while I was in India at that time. And everything that Dr. Prashanti shared was all true for me. Just the strong antibiotics, the fear that the doctors instilled in me. They wanted me to have surgery to remove part of my lungs. Um, and all the side effects from that, like from taking these medications, I stood strong about no surgery. But just the fear that he put in me with all that, and that I would need it. And then how my body was reacting to the drugs. I was vomiting so often. My mom's here on the platform, she can even testify to that. I was vomiting. I was my livers and my liver and my kidneys got affected. My skin turned red. I looked like a strawberry. I didn't recognize myself. I had lost so much of weight. I just looked sick and miserable. And the thing is, because of the fear, everything that you all shared, like I realize now, was so true for me. I was under a lot of emotional stress at that time, a lot of things that I was going through personally. And So what that did also, it turned out to be more drug resistant. I mean, that's what they told me. I was given all, like, as Dr. Prashanti shared, also told to eat eggs and milk and, all that kind of thing, which I did and took the medicines religiously, but it turned out to be extremely drug resistant. And I started getting worse. So when I started at one point, by the time the 2 years was up, I was actually worse, where my lungs were severely damaged. In fact, like my left lung collapsed, and I was really severely damaged. So it's a miracle of God. I don't think I would have been in other statistics that died because of TB. But I think it was God's hand. I mean, that's a story for another time. That somehow my husband had got a job in Dubai at that time, and it's another story how I landed up being treated in Dubai. So I was treated in a hospital here, and just to cut a long story short, I was quarantined, treated over here, put on strong antibiotics. Again, I went through a whole lot of things in the hospital as well, but I was finally disease free. But then what happened was I got left with a lot of side effects, a lot of chest congestion. My issues with gut started, like with acidity and bloating. I developed tinnitus as a side effect to that. And above all, I used to have a lot of chest congestion. Uh, and it would like, it was very embarrassing for me. I would take, like, when I got like a cold and a cough, that's what I thought, like, the flu. It would take me months to heal. It would just take me months to just come out of it. And this congestion would just come up very often, and especially, like, I started noticing when I ate certain kinds of food, like if I ate meat, and if I ate fried food, if I ate dairy, if I ate desserts, it would just increase a lot. And it was very embarrassing because I was coughing up phlegm in public. So I was just at that point, like, all these years. So this was 20. I got free of the disease by like 2020. So like, 5 years. So last year, like, I was going through all this congestion and all these other things, these side effects. And I was just sick and tired of feeling, sick and tired. It was just too much. So I started praying at that time. I was like, okay, Lord, this can't be it. There has to be something else. Show me how I can be a good steward of my body. And at the same, so at that time, like when I was praying, studying the Bible, a verse from the Bible jumped up from me for the first time, even though I'd read it before, where it says that, God created us in the beginning. When He created us to eat a plant-based diet. And not only us, not only humanity, but also the animals. And that stood out to me for the first time. And at the same time, my mom was doing some courses with Wellcure last year, and she told me about Wellcure. So I put these things together, and I was like, yeah, I wanna try doing this. And so I signed up for a one-on-one personal consultation with Dr. Prashanti, and Nivedita is my other coach. And they guided me on how to make changes to my diet and my lifestyle. And praise God, it was just within 1 week I started feeling better. And over time, like, within as the weeks passed, the congestion just decreased, just started becoming less as I made these changes. And uh, and I was also, another thing was, I was dealing with hypothyroidism for 15 years. I was taking a medication. So within 1 month, I was free of all the medication from hypothyroidism. My issues with bloating and acidity went away, and the congestion is just now so minimal. Like, I just get it occasionally, and I believe and I trust that it was going to go completely. So I'm so thankful to Wellcure, and to God, to, like, for leading me to Wellcure, and for just helping me come to know about this path of like, it's basically, I feel like I've got a new lease on life with all this
So
with all
all
that.
these big names and diagnostics which you were handed out, you
Yeah,
realized, right, that it is just nothing but toxicity in the body, and you
yeah,
need to give your body a chance to clean up, and
yeah,
all of
that's
these
true.
things will just go away. So that's what,
Yeah,
guys, we don't need to attach labels of disease to whatever health issues we are going through, it's nothing but a body struggling under the load of toxins and congestion. And just allow your body to rest, to recuperate, put the conditions of health in place, and your body will come back to balance. It knows how to do it. Yeah,
Yeah.
great.
So, Melissa, you wanted to say something, right? Go ahead.
Yeah, just uh, I feel like I have a new lease on life. And I mean, just like earlier I struggled, all the medicines like took a hit on my body, where I was very active before and I couldn't exercise. I mean, I used to exercise a lot before, and I didn't do it in all these years from 2016 till last year for 9 years. Now I'm exercising that way again. I can do jump squats, I can do planks, I'm dancing again, which I love to do. And I used to get breathless. Like, I used to be so upset because my lungs, I would just get breathless. Now I can do that again. I can climb stairs without getting breathless. So many positive changes in my body. These are just some of them uh, that I'm experiencing. Just so many other positive changes overall in my body that I'm seeing. So I'm just so grateful. I wish I knew this when I was sick. I keep thinking again that I wish that I knew this truth about what you all are sharing now. I had this webinar to attend at that time. But I'm just grateful. Praise God, I'm just grateful that I know this right now. And I feel I have a new lease on life. So thank you. I've been through a lot. I've been through a lot
You
with,
have, no, yeah. I mean, that day itself, right? The first thing I said is you need to read Mucusless Diet book from top
yeah,
to bottom.
yeah,
And yeah, yeah. So, yeah, those of you who don't know the book, it's called Mucusless Diet. So, yeah, members of Aza's family members, I think you guys should start diving into that book. That's the first book every practitioner should read. It's called Mucusless Diet. Yeah, but Melissa, it's really good. Every time we think about something, I mean, like we want to do something, your name comes up and you keep coming and helping us out with, with everything. But yeah, it's whenever I'm taking your histories, it's almost like, oh my God, I can see what they did and how they were thinking and what is the right way to how, we should be thinking, right? So it's just, there's so much of, contrast, like total 180-degree turn approach is always needed at this point. I wish more and more of these TB doctors who are taking all these, who will come and listen to this, because literally they are lost, they are gone. And the way they talk, with all these chest x-rays in front of them, with all these drugs and the multi-drug resistant stuff they're talking about, it's just so literally painful. My mother-in-law's neighbor is a TB sanatorium head of the department. He's like the authority in Andhra with all these things. Poor guy, I have no idea what he's doing to other people, but it's just so much to deal with. They won't understand. They won't understand. They will be like, oh, the cavitation. You have no idea. It's going to bleed. We are trying to stabilize the patient. Are Baba, cavity, to, why is the cavity becoming? You keep on dumping mucus filled stuff into the body. The cavity keeps on increasing. So, yeah. So, Asha, any other things? Is there any more slides left? Is the Saujanya here by any chance? I don't think we have time for Saujanya. But the book is called as Mucusless Diet.
Virginia is not here. I mean, we just
Okay.
have 3 4 slides to finish up, just
Okay.
to give people some solutions. I'll do it quickly. Yeah, so I
Who
just
can
wanted
follow
to
this?
ask everyone, how have you handled episodes of cold, cough, allergies, fevers, or tonsils, adenoids, all these things in the past? If you have taken medicines, if you've gone through any surgeries for enlarged adenoids or tonsils, what is all this going to do? That means cold, coughs, fevers, allergies, all this was the body trying to remove the toxins. It was the body was trying to push out the toxins. These are ways in which the body really releases extra mucus and toxins from within. But if we have taken a lot of medications in the past, in childhood, for all these things, that means we are actually forcing the body to retain the toxins and the mucus within. So slowly the body will push the toxins into deeper and deeper tissues, and that's when a suppressed hold, a suppressed cough is going to turn into inflammation in the lungs and injury to the lungs. So it can be called different names. It can be called asthma, it can be called tuberculosis, or it can be called some other kind of pulmonary disease, but it's all the same. So when surface level eliminations are suppressed, the problems shift to deeper organ. That's why we have done many webinars in the past which talk about the importance of handling a cold, a cough, or a fever naturally to allow the body to finish its job, because every suppression of the past is going to create deeper level issues. Okay. So Nandini is saying, in the past I was given multiple rounds of antibiotics within a span of few months, was told rhinitis, sinusitis, deviated septum. This was in my early 20s. Yes, this is what happens. Lot of anti-allergy medications. Yes. So all these things means that we are actually creating a bigger problem for later, in which a functional problem gets converted into an organ level problem, and then it gets converted to a structural issue. So you can see the pattern here. That's why please educate yourself on how to handle fevers, colds, coughs, diarrheas, and other eliminative actions in the proper natural way, either through coaching or by reading books or learning from our free webinars or our recorded programs, so that you do not land up with bigger, deeper issues later on. So lungs actually also play one of the important things is to play the part of elimination, right? They are eliminative organs. That means all toxins, especially in gaseous form, they get released through the lungs. So when the body is toxic, when it is burdened with a lot of toxins from the environment, from all these immunizations and heavy foods, which I'm going to talk about soon. So the kidneys are overworked, the skin health is poor, liver is sluggish, and there is a lot of constipation and poor gut health. So anybody here with poor gut health and constipation who are also having lung issues, that means the lungs have to take the burden of toxin elimination because the other organs are sluggish. So years of suppressed colds, coughs, adenoid problems, people have had tonsils removed. All these issues are going to create higher burden on the lungs. So lung health suffers. And living in a congested city with lot of smoke, and especially in winter where there's a lot of smog, no, that is like the last straw, and that will create all these other health issues. So did you know or did you guess why hospitals of the past had sun decks? Patients were mandatorily expected to spend at least every morning and evening out in these, they called it as sun decks, where they had to actually sleep with minimal amount of clothing in the sunlight. And that was a great decongester. Sunlight had antimicrobial properties, and before the invention of penicillin, actually this was the preferred method of decongestion and improving health. So, before modern drugs, patients were sent to sanatoriums, and the treatment included fresh air, sunlight, and nutrition. Doesn't this make more logical sense than getting admitted to isolation ward of hospitals where there is only recycled air conditioned air and you are being given a lot of medicines, and the canteen supplied food, like Dr. Prashanti explained, is a lot of eggs and high protein foods. So you're going to get congested more, and they're going to make you drink all their high protein drinks, which is going to put a further burden on the body. So Nandini says, have been given nebulizer and spray also last year, advised for kids too. So Nandini, I think you know better. No need to do all these things. Can fluid in the lungs be eliminated without antibiotics or pleural tapping, especially in the case of elderly? So we'll have to look at that, D, especially what is their medical load, what is their age, how much of vitality they have. So in the short term, maybe they will need to take the support of nebulization or any such things to remove fluid in the lungs, but a lot can be improved just with diet change, a cleaner environment, and lesser load of medication. Okay, so that is possible. Just medicines, no way to get out of it. Says Azuma, I had allergic rhinitis. Doctors recommend sprays and steroids. No explanation on how and why lifestyle causes this disturbance. Yes, because just talking about lifestyle changes will take 1 hour of their time, and they are only going to spend 5 to 10 minutes of their time, and that is going to be spent on taking a very brief history and giving medications. And soon you will see that you will have to keep going to multiple doctors. So stress, like Melissa explained, also has a big factor to play. Anytime you are going through tremendous stress in life, you're not sleeping well, you're not eating well, you're not thinking well, you are continuously taxing your brain with all these stressful situations. So the energy which your body needs to keep itself clean, to keep the lungs clean, the intestines clean, it gets congested. The energy gets diverted to handle the stress. Mhm. It slows down elimination and toxin starts to build up. Sorry, I'm just recovering from a cough. So please spend some time in nature, meditation, journaling. All these are very important ways in which we need to handle stress so that we conserve our body's energy to take care of the congested lungs or any other part of the body. So consistently doing this will help the body to decongest, get rid of the cheesy material like what Dr. Prashanti was explaining, and restore the conditions of health. And all this is going to happen without the burden of any medicines like what Melissa went through. So another reason is the kind of food we eat. It's a very important thing because the food we eat today is very dense. Okay, so a lot of it is processed food, heavy in oils and other sources of fat, especially dairy products like meat, milk and cheese and curd, paneer, all these things. It creates a lot of mucus in the body. So mucus is created by the body as a protective mechanism against the load of toxins in the body. So this increases digestive work. The intestines get clogged because dairy has no fiber, and more of the waste gets trapped within the body. And wherever these wastes get trapped, they will call it a different form of TB. If it's in the intestine, you will be diagnosed with intestinal TB. If it's in your spine, they will call it POTS, right? So different conditions, but the root causes are because of heavy, dense foods. So the kidneys get overworked because the kidneys get dehydrated. They are not able to handle the purification or waste management of all these oily, uh, fiberless foods. So toxins get retained in the body, and then the lymphatic system, which carries the waste, is not able to throw it out. So the nodes of the body, the lymphatic nodes are the junction points in which the wastes are accumulated. So they start getting backed up, and so you will see swelling of the nodes there. And that's what they say, oh, this is this kind of TB, and you're given a name for that. So at the root of all these issues in terms of nutrition are all the foods we eat, especially the restaurant food, the street food, which is high in oils, and a lot of dairy, meat, and eggs. This creates congestion within the body and wastes get backed up. So any part of the body, especially the lungs, are very susceptible to this mucus increase in the body, right? So we have to decrease that. And there is also this connection of how bovine tuberculosis spreads to uh, humans, which is anyway not factually correct. It's a myth. But why did animals also develop tuberculosis? Because they are also living in the same filthy conditions like humans. So today, the way the dairy industry functions, there are a lot of cows and buffaloes and other animals. They are squeezed inside close quarters. They are fed inferior quality nutrition. They are not allowed to go in the sunlight. They are under a lot of stress because their babies are separated. Then their tails are docked. They are given a lot of antibiotics and other injections, and they also start to get congested from inside, right? So when we take milk from such injured and inflamed animals, of course, it is going to add to our own medical load, the disease load. So let's also have a little more compassion towards animals. We don't need to trouble them for our own sake. So these are all like classic signs of node swelling in the neck, especially in children. This is called as scrofula and a form of TB. It is historically linked to dairy consumption. So anybody here who consumes a lot of dairy, do you see that dairy causes a lot of your health issues, a lot of congestion, mucus, colds, and coughs? Like my son used to have it all the time, always coughing, right? And the moment we stopped dairy, there was a lot of improvement in his health conditions within a month. So Dr. Prashanti was specially insistent that we show this picture. I don't know if she's available to speak now.
Yeah, I wanted you to do this. I know it
Yeah.
feels yucky and it feels really grossed out, but we have to make a connection. Whatever we put in the body is not going to turn into carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. That's what the medical industry makes us believe in. That's not true. The cheesy material, remember, the snot and everything, they all look the same. And the same snot that it is trying to come out, and that's the one that we are stopping multiple times with all these, calling them as a sinusitis, this and that, and stopping all kinds of reactions from happening. So remember all that stuff. That's what it is. That's the one that kind of accumulates in the lung. Whatever that doesn't come out, the cheesy material gets accumulated. And that's one of the reasons why, that's the main reason why we end up with this. All that mucus, what are the foods that create mucus in the body? Everything is there in that book called Mucusless Diet. So you're going to use that book as a main foundation in order to understand what this is all about. Every doctor should be reading this. If a doctor doesn't read and understand where the disease is coming from, then they really are not fit to practice proper amount, like their whatever doctoring they're doing. But anyway, are you able to get the connection now? The cheesy material. Remember, I was talking about cheesy material. Stay away from dairy product. It's one of the most filthiest thing anybody can eat.
I remember Dr. Prashanti, like when my daughter was young, we used to put a kerchief or like pin a kerchief to the uniform, right? Because there was
Mhm.
constant nose dripping
Constant
and
drippy nose.
mucus, colds, and coughs, and it all
Yeah.
went away once dairy was stopped.
Yeah.
So we have, when especially in children who have a lot of milk products, the mucus will be especially thick
ఇది బాగుంది.
and it will be discolored. So when you can see what is coming out, but can you imagine what is still stuck inside the body, right? So that is what causes all this congestion, which is then labeled as tuberculosis or some other name. So in order to neutralize this, in order to help your body heal, you need to eat foods which are already prepared by nature, which nature has given to us, and which is our real food. And this should be plenty of fruits, a lot of salads, where you're going to be, incorporating a lot of raw vegetables into your diet. So these are what we call as living foods. So fruits, vegetables, and do you treat them as full meals or do you just add a few pieces on your plate? So that's the way most Indians eat, right? We just eat two pieces of fruit in the morning sometimes, and then a salad is just one cucumber and one onion on the side. And a lot of our food is oily, dense, heavy, a lot of grains and like basically dense foods. So that's going to create a lot of congestion if you're not balancing it out by at least a lot of fruits and salads. So please bring fruits and salads, make them famous on your dinner table, and watch the health of your whole family improve. So apart from what Gauri and Melissa shared, we also have a few TB healing stories on our website. So this is Asha Pawar, diagnosed with spinal TB, but then she adopted Nature Cure and she has experienced a lot of healing, and her spine showed complete recovery on X-ray without medicines or surgeries. So that's the amazing power. And here's another story where Shabana was diagnosed with TB and suffered severe weaknesses, but she chose the natural healing approach and she recovered from TB joint pain within just 1.5 months without any medicines. So she has maintained her vibrant health and inspired her whole family to follow over the past 20 plus years. She also, if I remember, started doing yoga and all that. So these are all wonderful recovery stories. That's what we wanted to say. If you want more guidance to adopt Nature Cure, to heal yourself or your family or anybody else, from diseases like tuberculosis, other so-called infectious diseases, lifestyle diseases, we do offer, Dr. Prashanti and our team, we do personalized coaching. We have 1 month at 7,499 or 3 months at 14,999. This includes detailed case taking. We will understand your entire life history and we will give you a personalized meal plan and lifestyle changes which you need to do. We'll check on you regularly. Every day you will be getting some messages or the other from us. A lot of it is educational too. Plus, we give you healthy recipes and we share healing stories to keep you inspired. So, if you're interested in taking coaching from us, you can GPay or Paytm. The number is written here, or you can even call somebody from our team. They will call and explain. Okay, so both Melissa and Gauri had undertaken this, and yeah, some of their family members have also joined us today. So we also have a specialized offer that we have a 1 month free for every 1 month. So here are the rates if you would like to join or would generally like to improve your respiratory health. So this is the program for you. Okay, so that brings us. So, can you all list, whoever is here, what are one or two, three key takeaways you had from today's class? Like, what was a wow moment, and what are you going to do in future? Can you all write it down? Meanwhile, I'm just going to go through the comments. Azuma says, as a kid, I didn't show much issues, but in early childhood, there were signs of sinusitis, constipation, and gut issues. The milk drinking habit drains vitality. As a kid, my body kind of put a great fight with it, but as adults, it's all gone. Yeah, we don't need to fight and take the breast milk of another animal as our food. Nature has blessed us with enough fruits and vegetables and a little bit of grains, sprouts. All these things are available. We don't need to run behind animals, right? Is this coaching for a particular disease? No. We can coach you for a particular disease or we can coach you for multiple issues also together. So we are not like like specialist doctors where you need to go to different doctors for different things, because we work on building your health, and as you build your health, the disease automatically goes away. Yeah, great Dee that you're going to look for the book, Mucusless Diet, but he has also made a few mistakes, but overall it's a good lead.
What mistakes do you think, Asha? Enemas?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Enemas, he kind of like, transitions them to some, I think there is some peanut butter and other things there, but don't use peanut butter.
yeah.
Yeah.
So any
Yeah,
question?
don't use the enema part, don't use it. But I think enema he was just trying to do in real constipated people.
But
But
there's a
initially
lot of
also, I think he
science.
advocated it as a
Yeah.
transition.
They have rewritten that parts of that book later on by Professor Stira has written, like he has written
Mm-hmm.
a different version of the book. But yeah, it's
Okay,
a
I don't know.
great
I think I
book
have the
to start off
original one
with.
then.
Okay. It's a great one to start off with. So, guys, please educate yourselves. And yeah, at Wellcare, not just coaching, we also do more deeper educational programs. One just started yesterday. So, if some of you are interested to join Nature Cure deeper classes, we do a 21-day course. So, you can join that too. Any other questions? So please, we will be sharing a recording in the different groups, but if somebody you know couldn't attend, please do send them the recording. Any last comments? Key takeaways anyone would like to share? Nandini says this was very helpful. I'm going to get way more committed to eliminating dairy entirely for my children. Going to, so I can see what is that.
Additionally, going to read up about PPD, the purified protein derivative testing, and then be prepared to speak to my pediatrician here as well. Yeah, yeah. I think you will have more education than your pediatrician at this point, Nandini, because most of the pediatricians all they know is to suppress, and then they talk about milk and eggs all the time. So, how to join the WhatsApp group? I got linked through another NC group. Ultimately, helpful and reassuring nature's power. WhatsApp group link, please. Okay. I don't know what this WhatsApp group you're talking about, Asha. Just share the link. Yeah, are you talking about the medicine free
Yeah,
group
I
or
think
something that we
there
have?
are some free WhatsApp groups
That
belonging to
Akanksha
different
keeps running.
communities where we will share this recording, but only free recordings are shared in generalized groups. But if anybody joins our coaching or our programs, we have paid WhatsApp groups which are where you get to read more detailed material. Okay, so not all our WhatsApp groups are free. About events and webinars. Okay, we will share it with Aza. I think she can share it with you. Okay, so I think we can close today's webinar.
Yeah.
And
Thank you,
thank
Melissa. Thank
you,
you, Gauri, for
doctors.
coming.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Prashanti. Like, see, Dr. Prashanti has spent her Saturday morning doing this free webinar just to spread this information to more health seekers. And I think it is all our duty to share it with more people and build more awareness. And we hope to do more such free talks in future. But thank you for joining today and hope you
Yeah.
learned something from
On a
this.
Saturday evening, they also try their best to come and pay attention. It's hard to unlearn things and come to this path. Yeah, that's why I was in the garden, so it's windy out there. That's why my hair is all like I look like a mess right now. But yeah, I mean, I don't want people to think like, oh, if you follow Nature Cure, you're going to look like her. But no, today is like, I was just in the yard, so there is a lot to do. Yeah.
Thank you,
Okay. Any
everyone.
other questions? Yeah, so yeah, stay in touch. Whatever your issues are, whatever these health questions are, everything you'll find an answer in nature, not in the pill bottle or not in an X-ray or not in a test. Yeah, thanks to Melissa, thanks to Margaret, her mother, who kind of like led the daughter to this path. And then there are so many other, other health seekers. One at a time. Somehow the word is spreading, but it's not spreading as fast as we want it to spread. So, I mean, that's how the thing is, it has to really like catch like a wildfire at this point. All right, guys. Yeah, save a life, save a soul, save somebody from chemical poisoning. It's going to give us a lot of good karma. At least stop these children from getting these BCG vaccines. Somehow stop these children. Or stop these babies from getting this. Most welcome. I have benefited very much. That's Margaret. That's Melissa's mom. Thank you, Margaret. You've been here with us for a while. All right. All right, Asha. Anything else before you wrap up? Or so we are planning on doing like whatever the like health awareness day of the month would be. We'll see how it goes. What is the next one? Do you know, Asha? When is the next one? Maybe April or so. Is it mental health awareness or something?
We have World Health Day in April.
Wow.
I don't remember the date though.
Uh-huh. It's April 1st, maybe.
We can talk endlessly about health.
I know.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, we'll see the calendar. April 7th. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. See you. Have fun. Bye bye.